Hello everyone! Welcome to Chats with the Farmer's Daughter Fibers. My name is Candace English and I am the Farmer's Daughter. I'm very excited to be here today. My first couple sips of coffee. I also have some tea, so I'm very ready. It is going to be a podcast full of so much yarn. Last night I was setting up and I was just thinking of how grateful I am to be here and to be doing this, and how much I love knitting and how much I love yarn, and just being able to share that. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I feel like the luckiest person ever. Lots of, I work really hard, but sometimes it doesn't feel like work when you're doing what you love. So thank you for being here. And yeah, if you follow us on Instagram, you saw that I went to Europe a couple weeks ago. Lots of knitting, lots of cafes. I shared all of that through my stories, and that was really fun. It was a fun way to just share with you guys. I usually don't do that, and I'll probably do it again. I did it last weekend when I was at the Western Art Week, and that was really fun too. It was a good time. It's always an interesting weekend. I'm very entertained throughout the thing. I always learned a lot about myself. And I love supporting artists. This weekend I was buying some art, and this lady hadn't sold anything all weekend. And I bought 2 pieces and she started crying. I didn't know she hadn't sold anything. It's not why I bought it. I bought it because it was beautiful. But I was like, you know what? Creator wants me to support artists. That's what I'm meant to do in this world. I should be putting it into my retirement, but instead I buy art. Yeah. So anyways, it's been fun to share on Instagram that way. If you guys are on Instagram, that's what we're doing, a lot of stories. So seems how we can connect with our community a little bit better. Yeah, anyways, back to Europe. H&H was really great. It was super fun. I don't know if I would go back necessarily to H&H Cologne. While I loved it and I thought it was a great experience, I didn't really feel like it was... There were some things that I took away from it, and I can't wait to share with you what I bought and what's coming in, and that will be really fun. But I think you can get a lot of that stuff at H&H Americas, and I think that it was a great excuse for me to go and check it out. I also loved the experience of what the vibe was in fiber arts business in Europe, and kind of getting the feel for that was really interesting. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I loved Amsterdam. It was my favorite. I've loved Paris too. Yeah, I'm excited to go back and to explore more. It'll be really fun. So I want to get into what we have to share today, because it is a lot. And I want to pull up a couple of, not Discord. I want to pull up a couple of things just so I can make sure I'm clearly communicating on what is going on. So I have my computer right here. So I always say this, I'm like, I need an assistant to be like, Candace, yeah, the Tanks and Teas makealong, April 15th to June 30th. But I don't. It's just me. And my dogs, and I hope they don't bark today because I didn't put them in the laundry room. And I'm sure I'll be regretting that because Kima's a little stinker. Okay. Tanks and Teas makealong. I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm going to show you what I'm knitting, what I've finished. A lot of the things last episode, I was working on the through-line shawl. I forgot to grab that. And then I also was working on the King Salmon sweater. I finished that, but I can't quite share it yet. And Beanie Brigade. And so I did finish one thing. So I'm just gonna show you the things as I go. Most of the time I kind of do a little show and tell, but because I want to talk about our Tanks and Teas makealong, I'm making and I'm knitting lots of Tanks and Teas to show you guys some different patterns in the real life. So we're going to do a Tanks and Teas makealong April 15th to June 30th. We're finishing up our Fiber Rush mal, which has been so much fun. If you are doing the Fiber Rush Mal, make sure by Monday that you have used the Google form to enter your finished objects. And when I looked a few days ago, we had like 200 finished objects, which I think is amazing and so cool. I'm very stoked. So, yeah, it will be fun to see. There's a prize for whoever knits the most, and so I'm curious to see who that is. I haven't really dug into it at all yet, but that will be my job this weekend. So Tees and Tanks Makealong, we're casting on between April 15th and June 30th, so you have lots of time to get ready, really what it is to get ready for summer. So we're not going through the entire summer, we're just doing about a month and a half, and then we'll be summer ready with our new tanks and tees. You can use any yarn purchased at Farmer's Daughter Fibers. So it doesn't necessarily need to be FDF yarn. It just needs to be something you buy from us, because we do carry other yarns, and Unine is one of them, and that's a great summer yarn. So that's a great way to include that. You can choose to knit or crochet any tank top or t-shirt, and that includes, like, this right here is actually a long sleeve, but I just have modified it to be a short sleeve, so that's totally fine. And then between April 1st and April 5th, we're going to have a discount code on Discord. That's where all of this is going to be hosted, is on Discord, and you get 15% off any FDF yarns in between the 1st and the 5th for this mal. And that's, like, we're suggesting yarns. They're all fingering weight yarns, but that doesn't mean that you have to, they're not all fingering weight. There's some DKs, but that you can use any FDF yarn you want. Like, you can make a chunky tank top, like whatever you want. And then we're going to do a virtual gathering on Discord. Dates and times TBA, but we're going to do it at the beginning and at the end of the mal. I think that's kind of fun. The Fiber Rush mal we just did at the beginning, but I think it's nice to cap them off. The first prize is a number 10 redesign bag in the colorway taupe. I'll just, hold on. This is just like laying on my floor. I just emptied it out. I used it this weekend. This is the colorway taupe. This is not a number 10 bag, but it's very similar to the number 10 bag. This is a 39 bag, and this is the colorway taupe. Let me get it all. It's empty right now. But come on, Vanna White, get your shit together. Okay, this is it. And it is a really beautiful cream color. It's more of a tannish cream. When I kind of saw them online, I was like, I don't really know about the cream, but now that I have one, I really love it. So the number 10 bag does not have the strap, and it doesn't have the front piece, but just so you know what the color looks like. This is the 39. I love this because you can put your knitting in it and then you're like ready to go. So when I'm going somewhere like knit night, anytime that I'm like doing anything where I know I'm going to be knitting a lot and I want to bring my whole project and then just a little bit of stuff like my phone and my wallet, I can stick it in there. So for travel, it's really nice. I think I'll wear it for shows. I think I'll wear it. I'm trying to think like all of the different times. Really traveling will be really nice. So yeah, love that. Project 39. So you get the project number 10 in that colorway taupe, 6 skeins of Confluence cotton, and the FDF Ultimate Summer Pack. And then second prize gets 3 skeins of Foxy Lady and the FDF Summer Pack. And the FDF Summer Pack is like all these fun summer things that we love, and McKenna put those together. So I'll share that in my newsletter. We're gonna like officially announce this on April 1st with more information, project idea, like so much stuff we have planned to share. So just kind of stay tuned for that. But as I'm showing you all of this stuff, you can kind of get maybe some ideas. And I want to show you all of the different yarn that we are doing. Okay, so first, let's see here. Well, I guess I could start with what I'm wearing. This is the Islet Raglan. It is by Layla Raven. It is Foxy Lady on this, and then Oh Dang in the middle here. I'm trying to look here. Yeah, in the middle here is Oh Dang, and right here is Foxy Lady. This is the colorway. It's green, bitch. It's not Britney, bitch. It's green, bitch. And I love this colorway. It was interesting when I was in Europe. I pay a lot of attention to like styles and colors and what people are wearing, and that was really fun to do that in somewhere not in the United States. A lot of taupe, like trench coats, which I think are cool and awesome, but also after like the 50th taupe trench coat I saw, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of not color. I didn't see a ton of color, and I know that there's a lot of interesting studies on that, but one color that I did see a lot was this color in scarves, and I really love that. So I'll show you what I'm knitting, because I was like, I want an It's Green Bitch scarf to wear with my taupe coat. No, I don't have a taupe coat, but I don't know. I think I love the simplicity of it. I love neutrals. I'm a neutral girl. And I think that adding pops of color as a knitter too is a really fun way to kind of express yourself. So anyways, I'm not talking shit about taupe coats. I was just observing that there was a lot of them. So yeah. This was a very easy knit. Now, Layla also has like a t-shirt version of this. This is the long sleeve version that I just made into a short sleeve. I haven't looked in enough to know what the differences are. This was actually one of the first things that I knit like last summer that I really like revitalized my knitting and being like, whoa, if you just work on one thing for 1 week, you can finish it and then you can start the next thing, and it's super amazing to like finish your projects and you feel really good about it. So this didn't take me long. It took me like a week. Super easy, really fun, and I think it is a great way to play around with color too. So again, Foxy Lady, Mighty Mo, you could use any fingering weight, and you could do it striped, you could do 2 different colors, you could do variegated. There's a lot of different options there. I just liked the one monochromatic color. So that is It's Green Bitch. I have so much stuff piled up right now. It's kind of crazy. Let's just have some coffee. I wish this was a live-ish version. I don't know how that worked, but I guess I can ask you guys questions and you can just answer them in your own home, and then you feel like you're talking to yourself too. Okay. Next is a finished object. We are doing Knitting into Loom Retreat, and that is in, oh my gosh, like a week, 2 weeks, I guess it starts. I'm going a little bit early to get settled in, and so we decided to do a little knit along so we could have some matching outfits. This is the Anju tank, and I'll link all of this. This tank top, interesting, on the webs or on Ravelry it says it's a DK weight, so I was just like, oh yeah, I'll do Unine DK, like no problem. And it wasn't until my friend Chelsea like kind of pointed out like, well, actually it says DK, but it's a fingering weight. Like that's what she used, was a fingering weight, not a DK. Most likely what it is that when she plugged in the yarn that she used, that's what they had it listed as, is a DK weight. So then that's why it popped up that way. If I knit it again, I would use the fingering weight of Unine, not the DK. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Okay. There are 2 different options to knit this. You can knit it bottom up or you can knit it top down. She does kind of say that her testers who knit it top down had a little bit more issues than it being bottom up. So I went with the bottom up. Because obviously, like, I was in Europe knitting this, and I was like, when I cast it on for my size up, I was like, this thing's huge. And then I realized what was happening, and I went down one needle size, and I went down 2 sizes. So this was the size 1, I think, on a size 4 needle. Again, I would way rather have this in a fingering weight, just because the DK weight is a little bit heavy, and I would have liked it a little bit lighter. The other thing too is the I cords all around. You add those afterwards, and it would have been nice to have it in a lighter yarn. But I'm still really happy with it. I think it's really cute. I got a purple bathing suit so I could wear it underneath it. And I love this. It's kind of hard to see. This is like a lavender. It's like a really light lavender color, and then a taupe. Now, do I remember the names of the colorways? No, I don't. It took one skein of the, I'm going to find the colorways for you. Quartzite, of course, is that light purple. So beautiful. And then it's Tiger's Eye is the brown. So yeah, it was a fun, easy, repetitive knit. It took me a while to like get started on it, and there's a lot of mistakes. There's like one section that has a lot of, by the time I like finally got to where I got, was like, there's no way I'm adding stitches. Like, nobody's gonna see this. Nobody cares. I don't care. Yeah, it took me a while. You know, whenever I feel like you're doing 200 stitches, casting on 200 stitches, you run into some problems. At least I do. I really prefer to knit top down. And I will, like, that was an exception. Some tanks and tees are exceptions. But for the most part, like, I kind of won't choose patterns if they're bottom up. I don't know. I guess I love the process of a yoke and the increases of a yoke, whether it's circular or raglan or whatever it is. I love to do the shaping. It's just so much easier for me personally. But, you know, I might need to get over that. So, Unine, in case you guys don't know, is a cotton linen. The fingering weight has 382 yards. Now, I am going to be totally honest and say I don't love to knit with anything that doesn't have some wool content in it. I don't like not having the give. I don't like not having bounce. It really is not enjoyable. However, it is 100% worth it. And at first, it's a little bit hard to get used to. Then you're just kind of moving along knitting. To me, it's so worth having the cotton linen garment though. Like, and it's a tank top, it's a tee. Like, I'm kind of like tell myself, like, get over it, you're fine. Because it wears so well. It's lighter. It's not as warm. I feel like the product it's definitely worth it. I will say Ritual Dyes, the Unine is by far my favorite. 100% veggie yarn, and it's organic, and the colors are all beautiful, and out of any cotton linen that I've ever knit with, this is definitely by far my favorite. So I'm gonna turn this light down a little bit. I feel like it's as down as far as it can be, but if I don't have that on, then we're not gonna be able to see very well. So this is Slate. I love this color. I want to knit something with this. I also just love the natural, and I think I'm going to make the, it's a Jessie May. It's the one that has like the stitches right here that you drop down. I've made the tank top a couple times down here, and then right here it's like these beautiful drop stitches. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can link it, but I think I'm going to make a Jessie May. I'm going to make a tea with the natural. The natural actually feels a bit softer. Interesting. Maybe it's just the skein. Yeah. So, big fan. Big fan. I think this color is just like so, I just want like a white tee with some shorts. Like moving into my summer dreams. Also, jewelweed has got to be the most beautiful color that, in my opinion, that Ritual Dyes makes. It's so unique. It's actually really, really hard to get a color like this. And I'm a huge fan of jewelweed. I actually feel like I need a whole sweater of jewelweed. And then I already showed Slate. So that is Ritual Dyes Undine. Moving right along. I hope this isn't boring. I'm like, am I boring today? I gotta come up with some jokes. I'm just like trying to get through things quickly. And so maybe that's why I'm feeling like it's a little lame. Okay, this isn't lame though. I freaking love this. I'm working on the... I know this is like a really easy name to pronounce, but Abidos top? Is it Abidos? It is a Lily Kate France pattern. I cannot tell you how much I love knitting this. It has been such a fun knit. Ooh, so cute. This colorway is Old Man Coyote. And it is like a really beautiful, come on, buddy. It's a really beautiful yellow that is kind of, it's a very sunny, bright yellow. When you're outside, it's very bright. When I'm inside, you get a little bit more of like a tan tone, brownish tone to it. But outside, it is actually really bright. So this is it. I'm like, is this gonna fit? I think it will. I was contemplating if I needed to do one more round of the these little guys. So it's a circular yoke, and these like little drop stitch ridges, they're not drop stitches. These little ridges right here are really interesting. When you're knitting them, you're like picking up a few rows down. So you knit 5 rows and then you go, I'm like, where's my other needle? Not that you guys can really see this, but maybe you can. So you're knitting from like 5 rows down, and then on the back side you're knitting, it will tell you where to pick up, and then you're just picking this up and you're putting it on your needles. I'm like doing it in the middle because I have an increase round right here. So you're doing this, you're putting it on your needle and you're knitting those two together, and then that's how you're getting those really cool little ridges. And then you switch to a larger size needle for the O Dang. And the O Dang, I have everything right here because this is the thing, and I think that this would be really fun if you did. Okay, that doesn't even make sense. Okay. Okay, so I used about 11 grams only for this. So we have mini skein packs. You could get a mini skein pack and use that. You could also be like, okay, I really love this color and I'm gonna knit, this with it right here, but then I can also use it with another color or the same color for something like this. So I think that like creating maybe your summer knits, or if you're doing the tank and tees knit along and you want to do more than one, I think that you can get creative in kind of creating like a capsule collection for yourself. I thought about that a lot because I was like, oh, you're not using very much yarn for that. So yeah. And then you knit the back and the front a little bit, and then you're joining. And I am hoping, I mean, my measurements are right, so I'm just going to roll with it and hope that it's not too small. It kind of comes off like this, though, so yeah, just a construction I've never really done, so I guess we'll see. I started this on Monday, so it's only taken me a couple of days to get this far, and I'm hoping to finish this weekend. On Saturday, there is the Knitting for Food knit along. I'll also put a link right there. We joined Gail Gillespie, Gigi's team, and we're raising money for a lot of different places that are serving food or providing food. And we're also going to do a event at Farmer's Daughter Fibers. We're going to be watching movies, and it's going to be a potluck. So if you're around and you're in town and you've watched this before then, you should definitely come. Yeah, I'm really excited. So I think that I'm going to be able to finish this on Saturday and then start with my next project, which I will just, great lead up, Candace. Okay, so this next project is, and I actually need your guys' opinion. Hohi posted a photo of this. It's on her grid. It's called the Sepia. She just has a hashtag on there of what the name is. It's called the Sepia Tee, I believe. Sepia Stripes. And it's a really beautiful striped tee, and it kind of has this collar. It's very classy. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then she was wearing it at Knitski, and that I just fell in love with it. So I asked her if I could test it, or basically, can I just have the pattern early so I can knit it? Because I want to knit this while I'm in Tulum. It's going to be my project. Honestly, I'm knitting so fast and so much these days that I'll probably get pretty far, and then I'll need to bring another project with me. So this is just my life now. I only think, breathe, eat knitting, and I'm loving it so much. I've listened/read 22 books so far this year, and it's just because I'm like prolifically knitting and listening to books. If I'm walking, I'm listening to books. I'm living my best life, and it feels so good and wholesome and spiritually sound to be doing that. Not on the internet as much, not scrolling, only taking in content how I kind of want. So, okay, anyways, I want to do it out of Short and Bread. And you can go and you can look at the photo of it if you're interested in what it looks like. And so it's striped. So I have Short and Bread, and then I have just an undyed, and this is Confluence Cotton. Oh, I didn't even talk about the yarn for that last one. I'll go back and talk about it. This is Confluence Cotton. Confluence is 80% Targhee, 20% cotton. So people are like, oh, you have a cotton yarn. I'm like, yeah, I have a cotton yarn, but it's more of a wool yarn with cotton. And, you know, I just got done saying how much I love Unine because it's lighter and it's really great for summer. I will say, though, that, like, this last summer, I wore this all the time. And just because there's wool in it, like, it wasn't crazy hot. Wool is a very breathable fiber, and so I think sometimes there's a little bit of a myth that, like, you have to have like 100% cotton or linen or whatever in order for it to be cool, when sometimes I honestly find that some of the wool things I make are cooler than some of the not wool things that I wear, or, you know, they're more breathable, I guess I should say. Especially this, like, it does help that there's like a million holes in it too. So that's a part of the reason why. So while this only has 20% cotton, it still is breathable. It's a great transition, I feel like, yarn, because you can wear it in the wintertime and you can wear it in the summertime. You can wear it all the time. Okay, so Short and Bread is this super amazing, beautiful, my favorite brown that we've ever done. I've tried to do it on other bases and it just does not turn out the same that on this Confluence cotton. It looks the best. And then I also have Love Me Like You Used To. So I'm trying to decide if I want my stripes to be natural or Love Me Like You Used To. And I'm kind of voting for natural, but I want to get your guys' opinion too on what you guys think. Let me know. Okay. Those are going back over here because I'm bringing them home. Okay, I just want to talk about Juicy DK really quick because we are talking about the Tanks and Tees knit along and what yarns you can use. I'm using Oh Dang, I already talked about that for the little fuzzy bit. And then the rest I'm using Juicy DK. Here's a full skein of this in Old Man Coyote. And Juicy DK is one of our most popular yarns. It is such a great workhorse yarn. I would say out of all of our yarns, this to me seems one of the lightest and the most breathable, besides maybe Foxy Lady. I love Juicy DK for Tanks and Tees though, because it's a DK, but really it's closer to a sport. It's a heavy sport light DK. 274 yards. So the stitch definition, you can, I think it's so versatile where the stitch definition can be so tight and so beautiful and just really, really creates a beautiful fabric. But then you can also make it so it's drapey and light. It does grow a lot. So if you are doing a tank or a tee, do a gauge swatch. Even though it's a tank or tee, it's like knitting a hat. Like I don't need a gauge swatch for a hat. Well, you might. For a tank and tee, I would say yes. And also because I feel like the fit of a tank and a tee doesn't matter more. It is more visible than a sweater. Like a sweater you can kind of fudge and maybe what you wear it with and how you wear it. With a tank and tee, for me, I feel like I need to get the fit like way more spot on. And that just could be like my body and maybe insecurities of my body. So yeah, I wanted to mention Juicy DK top 3 for me of our yarns knitting for tanks and tees. Confluence cotton. The other colorway for Confluence cotton that I absolutely love is called Turtle Time. And it's this really beautiful gray, green. It's so good. I really love this. And so I also want to make something with this, and I don't know what. That's why it's going to sit on my desk for a while so I can just look at it. But maybe 250 yards per 2 ounces. I mean, that's a fingering weight. There is a sweater that I discovered and I keep on looking at it. My list, I mean, y'all know, your list just keeps growing and growing and growing of what you want. And sometimes Ravelry is a blessing and a curse at the same time. This pattern is called the Back Yoke Sweater. Check it out if you haven't seen it before. The shaping is really interesting. It says the back yoke sweater features a split yoke on the back, the deep roomy yoke extending from the back to the sleeve. So it's like knit across. I don't know if it's knit. It looks like it's knit across like this. Creates a casual and comfortable silhouette. It starts with the shoulder and back sections worked sideways. Then stitches are picked up for the front and back. They are joined underarms and worked down in the round to the hem. The sleeves and collar stitches are also picked up from the body and worked in the round. You can choose between a turtleneck or a folded collar. The length is slightly cropped to complement the roomy body, but since it's knitted top down, you can easily adjust the length. It's really, really beautiful. I want to make this in Turtle Time. It calls for a sport weight, and they used durium. I can't. Y'all know that I can't pronounce much. what did they, 150 meters per, or 185 meters for 50 grams. We're way off. 150 meters, that's like, I'm trying to find a yarn that's comparable. 150, isn't that more like a 300? I guess that is a sport weight. You know, there's an opportunity to do some swatching there. And maybe I would hold it with, oh dang, maybe I'll just find another sweater, another yarn for this. But if you look at this and you'll be like, yes, Candace, Turtle Time's perfect in Confluence Cotton for that. Another note about Confluence Cotton, that comes from Green Mountain Spinnery out of Vermont, and it is a yarn that is not like super readily available to us. They source the cotton, the organic cotton, from Texas for us. It's all, I mean, this Confluence Cotton is, I don't want to say it's the most special yarn that we have, but I'm going to say it's the most special yarn that we have. So it's harder for us to get. And so right now, what we have in stock is what we have in stock. I don't have any extra. And I'm trying not to take things out of stock for myself. I'm being mindful. So what I'm trying to say is if you want Confluence Cotton for tanks and tees, I would get it sooner rather than later. The other thing too, I was like, for that sale, I was like, excluding Confluence Cotton. Oh. But I don't know if I can, I still have to have some thoughts on that. Gotta punch some numbers, you know? Okay, moving on. Next thing I wanted, this entire podcast is going to be me saying all the things that I want to knit. No, we're getting closer. Okay, we talked about the tank, we talked about the raglan, sepia stripes, so beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys that. I can't wait for that pattern to release. My top I'm working at. Okay, this is the last thing I guess I want that's on my list for the knit along. My goal is to knit one tank per month. So April, May, and June, and that will give me 3 tanks and tees for the summer. I think that's great. Plus, I'll have a couple more too. So after I do the sepia stripes, I want to do that poison apple tea. Again, this is another Lily Kate France? Kate Lily France? Shit. I'm gonna, again, linking these things. And she has this poison apple tea. So it's this really beautiful tea. Up here is all like sheer. So I'm gonna use Mighty Mo for it. And then it's just like a cute little tee. And then the sleeves are kind of like these puffy sleeves. What I love about this is in her pictures, she kind of has it like, it looks like she's dressed up for a holiday party, but then in some of the other pictures, people have like really beautiful summer skirts on with this. So I think it's going to be really versatile to wear in summer or winter. And I mean, Fugitive, it's my spirit guide color. This is what the gods are made of for me, is Fugitive. I love this color so much. I think it looks really great on me too. I did a color analysis on ChatGPT and on, I don't know, Pinterest or something like that. And I mean, honestly, like I'm an autumn girly all the way around. I knew that. But then I thought about different colors that maybe I didn't know were good for me. This is the only yellow thing that will have in my, this is the only yellow thing that I will have in my closet. And I asked multiple people if they thought this color looked good on me, and they all said yes. So I'm hoping, sometimes that yellow looks a little garish. It can really make people look green or yellow, but I'm hoping. And then, you know what? There's a part of me that just doesn't care. Like, if you love a color, you just go with it. It doesn't have to be your color. So this I'm going to do out of Bear Paw DK. Now she does say to use a yarn that has a little bit more structure to it because of those like little, you know, sleeves. But I just love Bear Paw DK so much. It is 20% yak, 20% silk, 60% merino, really drapey, really beautiful. I'm going to do some swatching and some adjustments. So I knit it on just like a little bit of a tighter gauge, which I think I need to anyways for my numbers. So I'm going to knit it a little bit tighter to hopefully give it that little bit of structure. And then I mean, I'm an oh dang girl, but the Mighty Mo, when I was looking at the Mighty Mo and the oh dang, the fugitive on the Mighty Mo, all the colors on the Mighty Mo are much brighter. They're kind of more matte on the oh dang. And so I thought, let's just go with the Mo. I think it will look cool with my tattoo, like underneath too, like all lacy and sheer. So that's on my list for April and May to do that. And I think that Bear Paw, again, I think Bear Paw is a great yarn for tanks and tees. If you need something really drapey, beautiful, like that's a great choice. If you need something that is maybe a little bit more structured, I would just knit it at a little bit of a tighter gauge. So, and then the other things that I would use for tanks and tees would be squish fingering, 438 yards per 100 grams, a lot like Juicy DK, where you're just getting like a really nice, airy, like, it's a workhorse yarn. I guess I shouldn't say airy. You're getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Basic? That's not a good descriptive word. It is though. I mean, it's a basic, beautiful workhorse yarn that I think holds up really, really well in garments. So, squish fingering, lots of yardage too, right? 438 per 100 grams. It's a good deal. And then the other one was, Spinster's Daughter Sport, which I don't know if I grabbed Spinster's Daughter Sport. That ply on that though is so nice. It's so tight. Great for texture. If you need any fingering weight textured yarns, I would go with Spinster's Daughter Sport for that. And then Foxy Lady, which I didn't grab that either. Crazy. Oh no, I did. And I already showed you guys because of my tee. Yeah, I mean, when people say I want to knit a tank or tee, I'm going to point them to Foxy Lady probably first. Confluence Cotton, Juicy DK, Squish Fingering. I mean, all of them really. It just depends what you want. I'm going to have we're going to do a blog for tanks and tees, and then I'm going to put down some more descriptors. Those words I was trying to say earlier, I'm really going to get them out. You guys, I'm 43 minutes in and I still have a lot to freaking talk about, so we gotta get moving, okay? Moving right along. Speaking of squish fingering. And oh dang. Oh, here's my, it's Screen Bitch. I'm knitting the Susbach shawl. And this is a free pattern. If you sign up for our newsletter, you can get this. And I'm gonna be like all the super chic Europeans with my green scarf. I just needed something easy. Ooh, also, have you guys ever used the Chaigu swivel cords? This is my first experience with them. We just got them in the shop and they just go around and around and they're very interesting to work with. For me, I thought it would be simple. It does take a little bit of getting used to when you're knitting, so worth trying. The verdict is still out for me, but when I was knitting this, there was a couple times I'm like, should I switch to a swivel cord because my stuff kept on getting undone, and I can't remember why else. I was like, this is where the swivel cord would come in handy, so worth trying. I just threw yarn across the room, and now it's everywhere. Okay, book club. I have so much stuff that, okay, we announced this week, feels like last week, this week, our new book club, The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I am completely obsessed with this book. Is it young adult? Yes. Do we care? Absolutely not. It reminds me of the world of Sword in the Stone. Again, Wayne Dane Dilly and Bill Peet, which was kind of like a little bit of inspiration for Beanie Brigade imagery. I'm just really loving that kind of vintage fantasy. And this is just the sweetest book ever. A lot of people have said that they've read this with their kids. It is a great book to read with your kids. And yeah, it goes super fast. It won't take you very long to read it all. It's about this village that every year leaves a baby as an offering to the witch who lives in the woods. But then the witch is like, why are these people leaving this baby every year? And it takes care of the baby and brings it to another village where it's raised. And one year she accidentally feeds a baby Moonlight. And so this baby turns into like this magical, powerful child. And it's the sweetest. When I was reading it, we had another book kind of picked out. I was thinking would definitely be what we were going to do. I'll actually tell you the name of it. It is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls is the book that we were going to choose. And I read that and was like, maybe. And then I read this and I was like, most definitely. So the yarn that we dyed for it this is called Luna. And we did it on squish fingering. Again, this would be really great for a tank or a tea. And then this one as well. Come on, get off of there. And this one is called She Is Here. And when you read it, you will know why. And man, the colors of this, let me see if I can get it. The speckles on this are so fun and so beautiful to knit up with. We did the shell. Oh, there goes chocolate. We did the shell cowl because, of course, I mean, how could you not? It's all about moon. And so this is by Catherine Clark, Love is in the Making. And then we also dyed Odane on both of these colors. And I don't know if you can see how beautiful those speckles are on this. Just a really fun, gorgy yarn. I guess I grabbed two She Is Here. I didn't grab the Luna on Odang, but we do have it. And the book club is held on Discord. We kind of do like light chat on Discord, but then we always get together for a Zoom at the end of our book club. So it's going to be May 27th, I believe, is our book club for The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And it will be a fast read. You can do a fast knit. You could use this yarn. The other thing too is that like we have books, we have yarn, but you don't have to buy either one from us. There's no like obligation to purchase anything from us to join the book club. You could just join the book club. And on Sunday we did our last book club meetup on Zoom, and that was a really fun to talk about our book, Good Night, Irene. We also got some really fun moon things in. This is, I'm like, what's in here? Oh, it's the tag. We have these cute little moon pouches and moon patches. And then we also got chocolate. Hold on, sorry. You know, because reading, knitting, the only thing you need after that is tea and chocolate. Or coffee and chocolate. So this is Moonstruck. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. This is out of Portland. And we have a bunch of different chocolates. This is dark chocolate, both dark chocolate. One is dreamy. What does that mean? Soy? What does dreamy mean? Maybe it's just dark chocolate. This is salty. This is almond. You know, sometimes they have those like sleepy chocolates. It's like mushroom chocolate, but I don't think that's it. It's just delicious chocolate. So that is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I hope you guys join us. I hope you read the book. If you want, you can read it with your kids. You can devour it by yourself. I listened to it and I really loved it. So, okay, next we're moving right along. I only did that in like 4 minutes. Good job, Candace. Zodiac yarn. I wanted to show you guys the Zodiac yarn kind of like in person so you could see it. We have been doing a line of Zodiac yarn for Starlight Knitting Society. They have it on some special bases, and then I thought, well, let's do ours on Bear Paw DK and Bear Paw Sock, and then we dyed it, and then we're like, you know what? With the dark base, like, I think we can do a little bit better. Alyssa is the one who came up with all of these colors, and she absolutely nailed it. They are so beautiful. I'm very, very excited about them. So I just want to show you all of them, and then I'll tell you about a design idea that I have. Okay, so this is Capricorn. The other thing too, when I was like doing it, I was like, do we name these like Zodiac? Do we name them after Zodiac? Because like, do you feel like you can't knit this because you're not a Capricorn? Like, I don't know. How much meaning do names hold? And especially when you're like talking about a selling point, like, will it deter you? Are you not going to knit with It's Green Bitch because you don't like cuss words? I don't know. I don't know. That one I don't know if I care. This one I do. I'm like, oh, I don't want it to deter people. But anyways, here we are. Capricorn. I want to see, what if I did this? What is that gonna do? Hold on. I think I look better with the line. I know that. Let's just do that. Can you see it? Capricorn. You can't see it as well as it is on this. It's so beautiful. Blues, grays, deep ocean in my heart. Love Capricorn. Okay. Sagittarius is this beautiful peachy, pinky, purple, mauve, stunning, gorgeous. I want to say like, I want to transport you all right here so you can look at them in person, because the color difference in these is just to die for. Now these ones I'm showing you are all on Bear Paw Sock. And then, so Bear Paw Sock, again, tanks and tees. This would be so fun. Islet Raglan would be beautiful in this. Any striped would be so beautiful in this. I think these would be really, really fun. Aries is like a reddy, pink, orangey, gorgeous. They're so tonal. And then this is it on Bear Paw. So you can kind of see the difference with the silk in there. It just brings a little bit of shine to it. So beautiful. Let me see here. I want to make sure that I have Pisces, Gemini. Okay, this is Pisces. Grays, purples, and greeny, beautiful, gorgy colors. Virgo. Oh, I love Virgos. First of all, I love a Virgo. Some of my best friends are Virgos. My first boyfriend was a Virgo. Maybe he was my second boyfriend. My second real boyfriend. He was a Virgo. Not that that matters. What a weird thing to say. I just love my son Ryder's a Virgo. Like, they're just really, to me, as a Scorpio, some of the coolest people out there. They're just like, they know what they like, they know what they want, and they're smart, but they're also like incredibly kind and caring and just beautiful people. So we're gonna be knitting with Virgo. Virgo's color, I want to eat it. It's so good. Okay, it has blues and greens and browns and tans. It has my heart. I want you to see this. I want you to understand how good this is. Maybe I should start putting googly eyes on the skeins so then the camera thinks. Gemini. Okay, let's do Taurus. Oh, earthy, of course. Green, brown, the little bit of beautiful pink, golden Taurus. As a Scorpio too, Taurus are also my people. Yeah. Stunning, gorgeous. Oh yeah, can you get it there? See that? Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for Gemini. Oh, also Aquarius. Aquarius, the color, you guys, it's so good. Teals and purples and just, it's stunning. I think that, okay, so we have a new yarn that's going to be coming. It's kind of a little bit of a novelty yarn. I'm going to do it in just a very small color palette. It's really fun. I'll have some designs probably to go with it and some examples to go with it. So like maybe later in August, maybe for like Wool and Wander collection, we'll be doing that. And where was I going with that? Oh, I was thinking of dyeing all of the Zodiac on Odane and on this new like fun novelty yarn. Still looking for Gemini. Oh, I can't take, some of these are mine. You're coming with me, Virgo. Cancer. Moody little Cancer. My daughter's a Cancer, and right before this, she called me and she was like, I just can't do school anymore. Just so emotional. I don't blame her. One bit. But I was also like, you need to stay. You gotta stay at school today, baby. Okay. Can you see the moodiness of Cancer? The beauty, the softness, purples, mauves, blues. It's what the universe is made of, is this color right here. It's so beautiful. All of these are very, like, they're kind of all similar, but they're all tied together. It's very majestic. Okay, well, I've been looking for Gemini, but I must have forgot it on Bear Paw Sock. This is Gemini. Did I do Gemini? I don't think so. This is Gemini on Bear Paw DK. Ooh, green, blues, beautiful. I'm a Gemini rising, so love and hate that for myself. Libra. Well, I have two skeins of Libra right here. Libra is really beautiful. I also love a Libra. My husband's a Libra, but he's also a Leo rising, so that explains a lot. Libra is, again, those mauves, the like dark mauvey browns almost, greens, so beautiful. I'm saving one of those too. And then speaking of Leo, Golden Fire Dragon Leo. And last but not least is Scorpio. Purple, beautiful, stunning, majestic, also moody little gal is Scorpio. I was like, oh, I want to get one for each of my family and do a thing, but I really want to design something where you could take, like, 3 to however many different ones you wanted, and I want to design a shawl and do a little marley, like, beautiful shawl. Maybe incorporate some of that new yarn, maybe incorporate some Odang, maybe just hold it together. I'm not 100% sure. It's sitting on my desk for me to ruminate with. What I really want to do is like rent a cabin for a weekend and like go and like a little starry cabin, where I could see the stars, and like just design it for the weekend. Will that happen? I don't think so, but that's my goal. I'm gonna manifest that for me and for all of you. My coffee is cold. Is my tea cold? Let's switch it up. Now, if you just heard me talk about the Zodiac and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, you old hippie. This book is all about astrology. We have another astrology book. This one is cool because it's a workbook. For me, when I'm learning something new, I need to like write it down and make notes. And I really love learning about astrology and tarot and all of those things. And so when I did do a lot of like tarot, learning about tarot, I did make a lot of notes. But I love this one because, ooh, yeah, there's like some just really great points. Also, astrology, if you're into astrology, and you might already know this, but Chani is an amazing astrologist. I think her name is Chani. And she has an app, and that will help you find your birth chart. And then she has a podcast, she has meditations, she has so many great things I really love. I'm a big advocate of Chani and everything that she does, because it's all very good. Okay, sorry, moving on. I don't have any segue into the sock knitting club. So this book is by Amarisu. It's $20, which I feel like for a hardback book is very reasonably priced. Amarisu published this, and the completion of our first sock book in 9 years. There is, you guys, these socks too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 sock patterns. Some of these are so freaking cute. It's in Japanese and in English. Like, this is such a cool sock. That's very interesting. If you're in Sock Squad, highly recommend this. Oh, I love this one. But I mean, can we just talk about how hard it is to do color work? Look at the bottom of that. Ugh! Colorwork socks are not for the faint of heart. Just a cute little speckly. Yeah, beautiful. They do such a great job. I love Amarisu. Yeah, so recommend this if you're looking for some new sock patterns, or if you're in Sock Squad. Sock Squad is going really well this year. It's been really fun. We had this like really great like little small discussion the other day of like some people, our last skein was orange speckle, and then it had this blue mini skein that went with it. And it's funny because we use inspiration from images that are in our journal, and every month I get, oh my god, I love this colorway, it's so beautiful, blah 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 blah, and then I get people being like, this is the ugliest colorway I've ever seen, I want out of your sock club, blah 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 blah. So it's just so funny that people, their differences, and I've had to like just let a lot of like creative ego go when it comes to Sock Squad, of people being like, you know what, I'm not a piece of fry bread. I can't make everybody happy. So we had an interesting discussion of some people being like, I had a visceral reaction to this blue colorway, like this teal colorway. I hate it so much. And then some people jumping on being like, I love my socks so much. And also like, I didn't think I would like this, but I knit it and I actually love these socks now. So it sounds like from a lot of people, it's this really great expansion into being like, this is not for me, or this is for me, but I'm going to try it anyways, of getting outside of their box. So I'm excited about that. I'm glad we had that discussion, and it was in a really nice way. Sometimes people can be just like assholes about it, and then that is like, you know, whatever. For me, it's like, okay, I do care that if you got something that you don't like, I do care about that. Also, though, you've signed up for something you don't know what you're getting, you have to expect you're not going to like every single month. I've done a lot of different subscriptions. I've been like, this is not for me. But I'm either going to gift it to someone, or I'm going to make something and gift it to someone, or I'm going to mix it with another, like I'm going to try to get creative to mix it with another type of yarn to make something I do like. But then I also feel bad for the people on the chat who do love that color, because then like, how does that make them feel? But I guess I just I can't spend too much energy on that. But it's always interesting, and I think it's fun for the squatties to kind of expand their horizon that way. Yeah, I love Sock Squad. It's been really fun. And Beanie Brigade is going really well too. I think what everyone in Beanie Brigade is like, oh my god, this took me a day to knit. Like, hats go so fast. And it's so nice that everyone is like, this was such a great palette cleanser, which is really what Beanie Brigade was like made to do, is just being like, here's a fun, quick project with new yarn you're probably never going to use again, or maybe you are going to use again if we have it or if someone else has it, but just a nice like exploratory into different yarns and different colors, and with low commitment, right? It's just a hat. I shouldn't say just a hat, because some people, hats are where they're at and where they're starting, and it's a big deal. So also fits in well for them too. Okay, moving on from Zodiac. I want to talk about something only because it's not been announced yet, but when I do announce it, it's going to be before I'm able to do another podcast. I'm going to come back from Mexico around the 15th, and I would say the end of April I'll be back with another podcast. So I wanted to chat about it right now. It's live on the website. It is I just want to pull up the information again so I don't like miss, if I don't like say anything, I'm not lying on my podcast. Okay, so in September, we are going to host an event here in Great Falls called Makers in the Big Sky. We've kind of branded it as a knit getaway. So it is a lot like a retreat in some ways, but in other ways it is not. We are going to have 3 teachers come and teach. Andrea Mowry is coming, and she's going to do a class on fearless steeking. So it's going to be a really great steeking class. You'll be knitting up some things before then. You'll have some homework, and then you'll come in and you'll actually steek in class with Andrea. Andrea Liu, who is a physical therapist and a knitter. She is coming to teach upper and lower body ergonomics, so all about how we should hold our bodies and some really great tips and tricks for taking care of our bodies. As much as so many of us are knitting, I think it's very vital to have education around that. And then Kate and Rachel are going to come from Spin Cycle, are going to come back, and they're going to do another Dyed in the Wool class, and they're doing like another takeover of our dye studio. So those 3 classes are included in the weekend. We're also going to go out to the Pishkin and do a cultural event that is a bison jump, one of the oldest bison jumps in North America. We're going to go out there. We're going to learn about the bison jump. We're going to have like a little cultural talk. And then my favorite food truck, Okie Eats, is going to be out there as well. And we're going to be able to have dinner from them, and that will all be included as well. And then on Saturday night, we're going to do a social event at this really cool new space in town, and we're renting out a room, and they have a deck, and it's on the river. It's really beautiful, and that is included, and there's like heavy appetizers. And then you'll also get included with that a Great Falls guide of places to stay, places to eat, and other things that you can do while you're in town. So it's, again, a lot like a retreat because we have a couple of events, we have these teachers, but you will be making your own travel accommodations. You'll be making your own travel plans. You're booking your own accommodations and taking care of your food. So by doing this, it allows people to kind of be able to choose a price point that works for them. It also takes some of the pressure off of us as well, because it is really challenging to find a place where you know everyone is going to be happy with their food and with their accommodations. That is not expensive. And I just kind of at this point in FDF and doing a lot of retreats, refuse to stay at places that I know we might have issues or some people might be unhappy about certain things. I've just been doing it too long and know too much, where I really want everyone to be super happy. But I also want to be able to provide some of these events that are potentially more affordable. Now you could go and stay out at ranches at Belt Creek and stay in a beautiful fancy home out there. You could camp. You could bring your camper. You could bring your tent. You could find a place to camp. Although I will say there's not a lot of places to camp in Great Falls. There's like the KOA, and I think you can maybe camp at the state park. If you can camp out at, which I don't know if you can camp out at Giant Springs, I would definitely do that. That would feel good and safe. The only thing I worry about out there is rattlesnakes, but I think they would, I don't know. I mean, not enough. Well, yeah, there's a lot of rattlesnakes out there. Actually, all the rattlesnakes I've seen have been out there. So when I say camping, if you have a camper, bring it. Or you could like stay out of town towards like the Missouri River, like Craig, and you're gonna have to, it's about a 45-minute drive into town. Or, you know, there is actually a really great campground too out in Cascade, Montana. You could stay out there. That's about a half an hour drive into town. But you could stay at accommodations that are not as expensive. And the food, you know, maybe you have certain food requirements. Get an Airbnb, bring some friends. Like, I just want this to be more flexible for you to curate your own kind of vibe that you want, while at the same time offering amazing classes, amazing events. The classes are going to be kind of all over town. We're not going to have classes at FDF. We're going to have classes, hopefully, fingers crossed, that everything works out, that we can do, host some of our classes at the Great Falls History Museum. They have a beautiful space in there. And then the other class is just at a place right across the street. And so it will be like easy to get to. Farmer's Daughter Fibers will be kind of your hub. Our upstairs, we're going to be opening up to all of our retreat members, our getaway crew, our getawayers. I gotta think of a better word for y'all that are coming. it will be open to everyone. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have drinks. You can hang out and knit there. We have a big table downstairs. So FDF is going to be like our central location. Everyone can hang out anytime they're not in classes. If you're not going and doing other things, like we're going to be the central hub. And so you can come and ask us questions. But it's going to be all over town. So all of this stuff is on the website right now. If you go under retreats, you'll see Makers in the Big Sky. I'm just going through a couple other things. These will be additional offerings, not in the price. I have set up where we are going to have a private class at our local yoga studio, Habit. And then we're also going to do a morning river walk with myself. There will be chair massages at Farmer's Daughter. And then, like, again, I said, the maker space at FDF. You can hang out. There'll be refreshments, cozy chairs, couches, shopping, all of those things. Free shipping home. So all of the information is on the website right now. Sign-ups start on April 26th at 11 a.m. There is 45 spots, and I would imagine they're going to fill up quickly. There's also an FAQ on that page too, so check that out as well. Otherwise, that's kind of it for Makers in the Big Sky. I am very excited. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit before we put it up, because by the time I'm probably back, it will have April 26th. I'll probably be announcing it around then. So we'll have to see. And, you know, with Andrea Mallory, and Spin Cycle, the Spin Cycle class is incredible. Learning how to dye wool with the girls and you can expect back about at least 600 to 800 yards of your own dyed in the wool colorway. I mean, that class alone is very special. So I feel like we've curated a really beautiful class schedule. I would imagine it's gonna sell out quickly. Maybe not, but I think a lot of people have been kind of waiting for this opportunity to come to Montana, but be able to do it a little bit more on their own terms. Another thing, like, I will always encourage you to come to this without your family, because I feel like when you can travel by yourself and when you get away from your everyday life, there's something that's just really magical that happens. I feel like there's a type of healing and refresh and reset when you're not in your normal, like, this is who I am space, when you can kind of get out of that, maybe be a little bit different or expand on who you are a little bit. I think it's really nice and lovely. But with this, we always have like, can my husband come? Can my, and I'm like, no, but for this, yes, they can. Your family can come and hang out in Great Falls and do their own thing while you're doing your own thing, and then you guys could meet up at whatever accommodations you guys wanted to. If your partners are into fishing, the Missouri River is very close and one of the best places to fish in the world, is very close to us. So so I just want to say that too is another reason why that this might work well for other people, is they want to bring their family. I'm like, Xander, you're staying home. He's like, thank you so much. And not for this though, Xander will be helping. Putting him to work. Okay. Moving on from Knit Getaway, we are very far into this podcast, and with it being once a month, like, oh, Kima, no, don't start barking. Don't start barking now, Kima. We're far in, but I really want to do this last segment, and it is all about Kiki. Come on, be a good girl. I'm gonna see what she's barking at. Kima. Oh, it's probably a deer or a rabbit. She's never gonna stop. Keeks! Hey, go lay down. She's a brat. And she knows it too. Okay. I want to talk about York. And I know I said last time I was going to talk about York, and I want to do it even though we're this far in. I mean, you can pause. You can take a break. This could be your intermission. Go pee. Go get another drink. Wind up another skein of yarn. Whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, so York. Lewis and Clark expedition is something that I grew up with. When I grew up on a ranch in between Cutbank and Browning, and then I moved to Whitefish with my mom when I was in middle school. So I was in elementary school. So I went to some of elementary school, all of middle school, and some of high school in Whitefish. And I would come over to Great Falls. My grandma lived here, and it's funny because I remember being like, I would never live in Great Falls, and here I am, living here for 12, 15 years. When I was little, I used to think that I would come over here and be like, oh my God. Love you, Great Falls. And that was coming from Whitefish, which is just a magical place, especially in the 90s, it was such a magical place. Okay. Anyways, I would come over here. My dad was like super into history. We'd always go to the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center. My grandma was really into like Lewis and Clark history stuff. I mean, it's such a big part of Montana history. It's a huge part of Montana history. And then in school, like in Montana, we did a history trip. We went all around Montana. We learned a lot about Lewis and Clark in school as well. So it's just been like a big part of my education and learning, and it's been in my life for a long time. So as I get older and I'm like more into history too, I find myself going to more history things. I find myself also more interested in it, especially because I think that we're starting to get more of a real story of what happened and the role that York and Sacagawea played in the expedition. So I recently went to a live reenactment with Hassan Davies, and he wrote this book. We have this in the shop, and I mean, obviously it's a children's book, but I collect children's books, even though I'm an adult. I mean, clearly, young adult books, like I don't discriminate with age when it comes to reading and to books. I love a lot of children's books. And if you have a kiddo, like obviously this is great. I would even say for definitely elementary school, but even into middle school, this is an age appropriate book. So he did this live reenactment of York. He's been doing this performance for like 20 years. It was so moving, so incredible. It was like such a visceral reaction. I was just like, ugh, the entire time, because I was like, oh my God. Yeah, me and Xander went on a date to go and watch this. It was just absolutely incredible. He is amazing. If you ever have the opportunity to see him, I would recommend it. Even though it's like some of the history things I'm doing, I'm like, this is really dorky, and like everyone here is of a certain age, but I don't care because I think it's important, and I think it's important to get out in those type of things in Montana, especially. I mean, you go to Missoula, Bozeman, you're gonna find more cultural art things. In Great Falls, it's very rare. So I really try to take the opportunity. And I actually think there's a lot more opportunity than what you would think that there is. A lot of it is catered to Montana things, so that's like a part of it, but I think it's important to take those opportunities. Anyways, I'm rambling now, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's talk about York. York was born into slavery in the 1770s. He was born as William Clark's dad's slave, and him and William grew up with each other. William Clark, I don't really want to get too much into him because I really don't like William, but he was a really well-renowned, like, army general dude. He was really good at what he did in the army. I'm assuming. So York and William grew up together. I mean, they were like they were considered friends. They rode horses, they played together as boys. They were around the same age, so they were very, very close. So when Clark was recruited by Meriwether Lewis to do this expedition by Thomas Jefferson, obviously York is like coming along for the ride. He didn't have a choice. He was married, and I don't know, there's no record, I don't think, of him having kids, but I know that he was married. Like growing up around the history of Lewis and Clark, I was always just kind of like, cool, couple white dudes doing their thing, colonizing, like, meh. And I was always, of course, more interested in Sacagawea and York. And I knew of York. A lot of people have no idea who York is. I did, just because I feel like I had more of like an expansive knowledge of the expedition, especially here in Great Falls. But really everyone on the expedition, like, they're kind of all in the backstory. And I think the truth is that Lewis and Clark, like, I mean, definitely Meriwether, your name's Meriwether and you're gonna go explore the craziest territory in the nation, like, it just doesn't make sense. So he recruited Lewis, who had more knowledge and was like good at what he did. But like those guys are not going to be able to do what they did without the people that they went with. And it bothers me that they were in such of the backstory when I was growing up. And the fact that their journals are like taken into Bible, it felt like when I was younger, like, oh yeah, this is what happened because it was written down. It's like, these are their journals. Like, I'm probably lying to my journal sometimes. I'm like, am I lying to my journal? I didn't think about that. It's just it's a interpretation of what happened. It's their perspective of what happened. And what I'm trying to say is that as I've gotten older, it is more interesting to learn more about more about York and Sacagawea, and the fact that we're really starting to see the impact that York and Sacagawea played in the expedition. That is why I'm really interested in this. So let's go into the expedition. When they're on the expedition, York is treated as an equal. Like, he's telling homies what to do, and they all are quickly like realizing like this is about survival. So he can be like, hey, like, you need to go pick this up, or you need to go do this, or you need to he is a baddie on this expedition. He is incredibly strong, he's incredibly smart, he's incredibly witted, like, he knows what's going on. He is I think, I would imagine that there's a difference, and I'm just kind of starting to learn about this. I went to this sign language class, this Plains Indian sign language class, about how indigenous people, there is more of like what's their learning process and their communication process is more about like what's going on. I mean, I'm talking with my hands all the time. There's a reason for that. And they are more perceptive of maybe what's like happening, and especially in the 1800s. Like, and I would imagine York was like that too, where he has to make sure, he has to kind of see what's going on at all times to be extremely perceptive. So he is like really he's really, I think, doing very well. Like, his natural abilities to be able to be a leader in this expedition are coming out. So he is like treated just like any of the other guys. There was one instance on record that kind of alludes to there maybe being an altercation with one of the other guys, and something maybe racially being said, but like Clark and York put that to bed really quick. It wasn't like the race thing, and to think back then that they've just kind of like abandoned this hierarchy because of survival is really interesting. So York is doing a lot of the scouting, and he's also doing a lot of the first communications with the native tribes. I mean, obviously Sacagawea is there doing that, but he is the one who's like coming with the crew who is doing these first initial chats with the tribes, because they quickly realized that a lot of the natives think that this black man is a man of God, that his black skin is a gift from the Creator, and this is a huge ticket for everyone on the expedition. And it's really interesting, a lot of like these interactions with York. This is the first time these natives are seeing a black man, and a lot of the during ceremony, and also when you have like, you know, gone out and like killed a bunch of people, when you're like on these sorry, this is a lot of words for me, so I'm like trying to say the right thing. When you're out there, and when the natives were out there and they're like, you know, in battles with other tribes and they're coming back, or during ceremonies, a lot of times they would cover themselves with black charcoal, with ashes. And so by seeing York, they're like, oh, he is like an amazing warrior. He is like a number one, and he's also a gift from God. So this is really like important for everyone on the expedition. I never learned that until I went to this talk, and to have as much knowledge as I did about Lewis and Clark, I was surprised that that just had never come out before. There were a lot of records of York kind of saving the day. And when they came out of like that super brutal winter in the Bitterroot Mountains, the Nez Perce had been watching them the entire time, like dying and starving. And so when they came out and they saw the Nez Perce, they were like, we were just going to kill you. We were just going to let you die, because the Nez Perce saved them. And they saved them because of Sacagawea also. But they also were like, we saw York and we decided to save you. So they were like, this homie's cool, you're good. Just very interesting that if York wouldn't have gone, where would have the expedition, like, what would have happened without York and Sacagawea, basically. Now, during their way back from the expedition, Clark starts like telling York, like, you need to start getting used to getting back to the real world, which basically meant like you need to start acting like a slave again. And I just think about like what conditions these guys are in, how much they went to, and like as a brotherhood, as, you know, all of them together surviving. And then to kind of be like thinking about like, okay, I have to go back into a completely different world. And York is leading a lot of the times and doing this massive, massive service for our country. And then they're like, okay, when you get back, you just need to go back to the way it was. So when they get back, York is like, are you going to free me? And Clark refuses. And of course, York is very depressed after the expedition, and his return was very hard on him. He wanted to go back and he wanted to be with his wife. You know, he was he was an equal on that trip, and then to go back to being a slave and not being with your family just must have been horrible. Everyone on the expedition got medals of honor except York and Sacagawea. They weren't included in that. And Clark kind of tries to like save face a little bit in like, I don't know if they were later on. Like, I always got the impression that Clark, when they got back, freed York, and what Clark kind of tells everyone is that he granted York his freedom, and then he gave York a wagon and supplies, but he died of cholera. He didn't make it because he basically like wasn't good enough. But in the 1980s and 1990s, Clark's family, who have been very like big advocates of Hassan and telling the story about York and being really honest with it. They've been very like, yes, the story needs to be told this way, which I was like, I loved that. So they found these old letters, like in a chest in an attic somewhere. They found these old letters that Clark had written to his brother. And he kind of made up this lie a little bit about like him being like, I think he just said one thing, but the other, what really happened was Clark was like, you don't deserve to be free. And just completely changed his attitude when he came back. Like, I don't know, just like forgot everything that had happened on this expedition. It's so fucked up. Yeah. And how insecure could you be to not free him when you got back? And how insecure can you be to have a narrative of like, oh yeah, I gave him these things, but you know, he's too dumb to be able to survive on his own, when really he was the one who was like helping this journey along as much as he did. So what I thought was really interesting, which I also never knew about, in 1832 there was a explorer, and he mentioned meeting a black man living among the Crow Nation who said that he had came west with Lewis and Clark, and he chose to go back to live with the natives. So York didn't die of cholera. He made it, and he lived his days out with a native tribe. And Hassan talked about when, you know, York got his freedom, the one place he knew that he could fit in and be appreciated and be valued. And this concept to me of like, you know, his skin and his being a person of God is just like, it just like hits very hard. And I think it's very true. That just, you know, he was so valued, and the natives saw that was the place that he could return to, and that's where he returned to. Now, I don't think that is necessarily like, you know, can't be confirmed, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, if these explorers are like, yeah, we met this guy, like, I'm going to believe the explorers more than I'm going to believe these white people ran shit down. Yeah, I just love the idea of him being in a place where he was treated as an equal. So that's the story of York. That was very passionate. And hopefully it was eloquent enough. If you're ever in Great Falls, you can go to the Interpretive Center. It's a really beautiful building. It's a beautiful space on the river. I haven't been inside for a while. Maybe I'll do that, especially before Makers in the Big Sky, just to kind of check it out. If you don't know anything about Lewis and Clark, I think it's a great place to start and to look if you're in town. My other recommendation, which is a little bit off topic, is the Charlie Russell Museum. I really love the Russell. Are the two kind of places that I recommend, or at least I always recommend the Russell. So anyways, now let's chat about the colorway York. So when I dyed this color, I brought it in every base. When I dyed this color, I just, come on, buddy. Remember, like, when I dyed it, of it, like, representing to me, like, something, like, it just is, to me, is, like, a really strong color. It's a very vital color. I think it's overall just, like, it shows, like, so much beauty, and it's, like, yellow in here anyways, because of the light. Oh, I guess I could have turned, I don't know, turning out that light would have helped. Anyways, I remember dyeing it and just being, I don't know, just like, it felt like a really spiritual color to me. And I was running a lot, and I was running on the river, on the River's Edge Trail, which is like where Lewis and Clark went through. And there's a lot of Lewis and Clark, there are statues and the interpretive centers down there. There's just like a lot of representation in there. And I remember thinking about York and just like how unappreciated he was, how many people I know didn't know who he was. And so when I got back to work, I was like, oh, I'm going to name this York in honor of him. Now at this reenactment that we went to, there is a point where Hassan is saying as York, like, remember my name, remember my name, remember my name. And when he was saying that, and he is just like this powerful, powerful actor, like my blood like kind of turned cold. I was just like, and those runs for me and that area was so spiritual. And I think that like the beginning of FDF, the early days, like the spiritual guidance was such a strong influence on me. So him saying that and it just like all connecting like felt really good, that like I knew that honoring his name that way was really important. And it's amazing that like, you know, almost 10 years later, 9 years later, 8 years later, that to share his story in this way and kind of continuing to come back to that, I think is just really special. So this is York. It's one of our most popular colorways. A lot of people know about it. This is it in Spinster's Daughter. Really beautiful, even color. This is it in Pishkin. So it's, you know, I would say in Spinster's Daughter and very much on Recollect, it's the darkest. So you can kind of see it's like one shade darker because it's dyed on that gray base. It shows up a little bit lighter on Odang. This is Odang DK. And then something with a little bit of silk in it. You're really going to get that shine. This is Foxy Lady and York, or yeah, obviously it's York, and Bear Paw DK. So it really has that nice, beautiful shine where, you know, on something like Spinster's Daughter, it's going to be more matte. It's pretty shiny, too, on these non-super washes like Squish and Juicy DK. And then one of my favorites that it's dyed on, too, is Craigie Tweed. So that is York. I'm so glad I got to share that story with you guys. Thank you for indulging me. I know that was long and I went on some tangents, and yeah, I just think it's such an important person to recognize and honor and know about. So, yeah. Another, like, again, I know I talked a little bit about the sign language class that I went to and just, how Indigenous people communicate and how they process things in the world has been really interesting to me. I've been thinking about this a lot actually since I read this book, The Lost Journals of Sacagawea. So the beginning of the book is Sacagawea's perspective. And the entire thing is written in the perspective of Sacagawea not knowing English. And I think it's like poetry. I think you really get the idea of what that looked like before Indigenous people were introduced to English terminology. And the way that sentences are made up, and then emphasis on grammar and things like making sense in a way where I think Indigenous people, their way of communicating, I know my way of communicating is different. And I never really understood that or knew that. Even though like I said, I grew up in Whitefish. I went to high school in Missoula. Like, I'm not out here on the, Little House on the Prairie. But I think that is passed down in such a significant way. So learning that about myself is really interesting. So I also highly, highly recommend this book, The Lost Journals of Sacagawea. Deborah Magpie Erling, she wrote my absolute favorite book, Perma Red. I have both of those books in the shop as well, but to get her perspective is really interesting. This took me a long time to read because it does kind of read like poetry. Like you have to I had to stop and almost take notes of what was said. So really interesting. Kind of going along with York. We'll do, we need a colorway after Sacagawea, and we'll do more deep dive on Sacagawea too, in her role. Another interesting thing too is that I went to a book reading of this book with Deborah Magpie Erling, and they kind of said the same thing too, that Sacagawea had died, but there were accounts from native tribes, I think also maybe even Crow, that were like, no, she's still alive and she's here. And in history, these things that are written as fact, and now we're kind of coming to find out, actually that's not fact. Yeah, just very enlightening to me. So I'm gonna finish up here. I've been yapping away. I wanted to share with you guys a couple other books that we just got into the shop, and then a couple of books that I've read that aren't in the shop. I haven't read any of these yet, but I'm looking forward to it. This maybe is another young adult book too. This is A Snake Falls to Earth. It's a Newbery Honor book. It's by Darcy Littlebear. And Nina is a Lipkin girl in our world. She's always felt there's something more out there. She believes in the old stories. Ollie is a cottonmouth kid from the land of spirits and monsters. Like all cottonmouths, he's been cast from home. He's found a new one on the banks of the bottomless lake. They have no idea that the other exists, but a catastrophic event on Earth and a strange sickness befalls on Ollie's best friend, and their worlds are driven together. Oh, this looks good. So you could read this to your kids, and you could read The Girl Who Drank the Moon. Now, if you're needing some romance, The Truth According to Ember. Liar, liar, heart on fire. Yeah, romance, native romance. It looks good. Just a fun read. And then The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. We've had in the shop for a long time. Really great book. This literally came out 2 weeks ago. It is The Buffalo Hunter, and look how cool the pages are. That red. Ooh, crisp. Love that sound. A little ASMR. Oh, now it's gone. This is set in Montana, following Blackfeet Indian named Goodstab as he haunts the fields of Blackfeet Nation looking for justice. Man, we're just really going back into history lessons now, you guys. This is obviously fiction. Ooh, Stephen Graham Jones is a baddie. Look at him. Yeah. So, he lives in Colorado. Oh, he's a professor in Colorado. I think somebody was telling me that he was their kid's teacher, or they wanted their kid to take who was that? I was like, a good knitting friend. I can't remember. Wanted their kid to take a class by Stephen Graham Jones. I want to take a class by Stephen Graham Jones. Okay, anyways, that's it, you guys. Only a 2-hour podcast. It's fine. I'm sure you guys had a great intermission. That's the nice thing about podcasts, is you can pause them or vlog or whatever the hell this is. So, oh, I just want to say the books I'm reading right now. I'm not gonna go. Yeah, I still have some rambling to do. Okay, I am reading totally way off of any of this stuff. I'm reading this book called Dungeon Crawler Carl. It is a very action adventure fantasy based book, totally out of like my normal genre, but I'm loving it. I'm on book 3. If you need to escape to like a weird fantasy land, go to Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's so good. They're also making they're gonna make a movie or a book, or they're gonna make a movie or a TV series out of it too. I also love this book called Nora Goes Off Script. It looks like a cheesy little whatever beach read, and it is, but it's actually really sweet. It's really good. I really loved it. So if you're looking for like a vacation or a beach read, or just listen, I mean, I listened to it in a day. It was really good. And then The Unmaking of June Farrow, I read that. That one was good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If you liked that book, you'll probably like The Unmaking of June Farrow. And then I read another really great book, and I can't wait to share it with you, but it's going to be the book club's book for the summer, so I'm gonna wait to talk about that until we do that, and that will be in June. We're gonna start that, so, or the end of May. What do I have coming up? I mean, so many things, obviously. I think I talked about all the things that we have coming up. Tanks and Teas, releasing the Makers in the Big Sky, going to Tulum for that retreat, very excited. And we have book club, we have subscriptions, and then just all the other things we have making. We have new releases coming out. Fish Girl Spring, which I don't really know if that's the name we're going with. That's just what we've been calling it internally, is Fish Girl Spring. Is going to be coming out. I don't know when. Whenever Caitlin releases that sweater, we'll follow up with our version. I went and took pictures. It's really beautiful. I love that sweater. Love Pishkin so much. It's one of my favorite yarns. Don't tell the others. I'm just stoked to be here. I'm stoked to be knitting. I'm stoked to be surrounded by yarn and to have all of you guys enjoy it with me. It's just amazing. So I will catch you on the flip side. We will do a giveaway on here. The giveaways are always hard for me because people don't respond on YouTube. So, and I always forget until the end. I'm like, we need to restructure these giveaways. I guess just comment and subscribe, and I'll do a giveaway. I'll just do a $75 gift card to FDF, and hopefully you see it and you get the gift card. And if not, well, there's always next time. So, okay. I gotta go clean up my mess, and I gotta get to work, you guys. I got things to do. I will see y'all later. Bye.